recording of that, we're at least streaming, but we're doing it to a private link until I switch it over. I just want to confirm the audio is good. And then we can rock and roll.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Look at me. I'm a ridiculous person. Can't you see? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do, 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 do.
Trying to figure out this overlay thing on my end here. The view overlay and copy link to overlay buttons aren't working for me.
Interesting. I would have not guessed that. Okay, content.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Just needed to fucking refresh the page.
Needed a toggle. Hit the toggle.
Just
pop
toggle.
up and down.
Turn it off, turn it back on again. Who would have thought?
All right. Let's get the copy link and click it. My buddy told me that he would check out the thing at least.
Yeah.
Do I hear myself? As long as I hear myself and I hear you, we're good. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Rock 'em. Rock 'em, sock 'em, robots. I can send you a link to this. And if you wanted to share-a-roo, I guess I need to change this from unlisted to public. That'd probably be the best.
Correct. You would need to do that.
So let me... How do I do
also, that flesh and blood thing is flipped.
I just realized that. I think that's going to be fun because I'm going to have to
Can't
click
you just
the
flip
mirror
this
button.
Screen?
Well, the screen's always been flipped, but yeah, I'll mirror it and then it'll be backwards, which will be funny.
Oh, I see. So maybe you'll... Yeah, whatever you'll have to do. You are using OBS, right?
Yes, OBS. It's just
why don't you just utilize this as a plugin in OBS, and then like that way it's a different identity compared to our Discord?
Yeah, it's because I'm running it from the computer I'm on. That's the only.
Okay, I see. That's right, John. Tech issues currently. Well, I wouldn't say issues. It's more so we're trying to determine best scenarios for everything here, but we're getting there.
If I go just, how about this? We're going to transform, flip the horizontal.
That's right, John. Tech issues currently. Well, I wouldn't say issues. It's more so
I understand now. Display capture, transform, flip horizontal. And then I can do the same thing. Flip horizontal. I don't care. It's backwards. I love it. We're just gonna let it roll.
Oh my god.
We're just gonna let it roll.
What a time.
The professionalism just drips from the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I love how all the names are backwards because I'm just like, yep.
Oh my god.
I can totally fix it. I can totally fix it. Hold on.
Jacob.
I can do it.
He's killing me, John. He's killing me.
So that means you're actually on the right side now. You're over here. I'm gonna flip.
Yeah, I know.
There. Bada bing, bada boom. If I hit save, does that auto update the overlay?
Can you just flip the stream like within Discord, like your stream? Can't you just like flip that image?
I tried. I genuinely tried.
Just flip the stream like within Discord.
Dear God.
Your stream. I also hear us through the stream, and so I think it's funny.
Well, it's because I have the us speakers sitting over there at the moment.
Right. Yeah. I had to like do a double take because I was just like, wait a minute, I'm not hearing that through the stream right now, right?
Okay. Transition.
Okay. I am just going to pop out the chat.
All right, there we go. And I'm gonna have to mute my PC. So now I know we're talking. Fantastic. Technical problems resolved. I think the name is still. Ah, look, I see the name on the stream. It's the right way now.
Let's go. Look at that.
Excellent. Wow.
What a gem.
This is because I'm overcomplicating life. Love it. So.
Well, you know.
And I just want to confirm the transition still works, right? Boom! Look at that transition. It's beautiful. Boom!
Yeah,
look at that transition.
Those look very good.
Oh, yeah. That's sexy. All right. Well, greetings and welcome to anybody who happens to be watching this ridiculousness that is the Geek Speak podcast here. That we are testing some liveliness about the new cards. So we have our splendid guest, Mr. Cat, in the background there with our esteemed guest, Alex. Alex, how are you?
I'm good. Not as good as this little boy is over here. He's just a sweet little man, but I'm good. High Seas has been crazy, so I'm excited to talk a lot more about it.
I'm gonna get my hat going since I realized I had my little fuzzy hair all over the place. Looked like I got shocked by that. That card that has the electrical socket. Bzz, just kinda...
You perk up, but the actual card.
Yeah, that one's super fun. Let me tell you. So, well. I know it's actually not been a terribly long time since we got to talk, so I don't know, what have you been up to other than, the world premiere came out. That was kind of.
Oh gosh, well, it was pretty good. I haven't really done anything outside of spend way too much time trying to delve into Commoner and Project Blue decks, but most of last night was pretty much just me sitting on my phone, constantly updating, looking for all the new stuff. So I'm happy we got to see all of it pretty much. And now I think we're just waiting to see what the actual deck list looks like for Gravy Bones. So, and Brian, it was good. It was good. I had a good armory, I would say. So I got to play Slippy, so nothing of mine changed at all.
There was actually apparently I don't know if it's a leak or not, but there was a card list I think that came out on Little Card for the Gravy Bones deck. If you were curious.
Oh, for the deck? I think I saw the little thing on the card for the gem pack, and I saw that. To be fair, I saw the leak of the equipment that's coming in the Gravy Bones deck, but not. I think not the actual cards.
Or somebody has the list of cards, which.
It'll be in my hands in 2 days anyway, so I don't mind if I'm not going to go searching for the stuff if I don't need to. I'm sure it's gonna. There's obviously you don't have to confirm this. There's a rumor that Call to the Grave has a one of reprint in there or something like that. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
That is an interesting choice for sure. Which it's very similar to Max deck, right? It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, how do you want to dive into this? Because there is a myriad of things that are out there that,
I think we should maybe get into the meat and potatoes of it first.
Sure.
We can talk about maybe the legendaries and majestics and everything and all that first, and then maybe dive a little bit more into the commons and rares, so that way we get to the good stuff.
All right, well, we're gonna try our very first one. Ready? Ka-choo! There we go. Look at that. Boom. Who's up on the docket first? We got Mr. Polly Cranker, Cranka. We know who that is. So
we already know everything about him. So pretty good stuff. Obviously, going to be a lot more opportunity to shoot the bird in this format, so it's going to be nice.
Next one we got going on here, which is still kind of interesting. This is the pirate hook that we kind of knew was coming. So there's that. We kind of also saw this one a little bit. Dead Threads, the first Necromancer chest equipment. We got Sea Lace Serong, which I can never say that right, but that one's fun. And then
that's going to be pretty fun, gotta say. I'm very, very seeing it. I know this is an older one, but I think this is going to be initially taking a look at it. You see, it's it's got blue arrows, so it doesn't really care about the high power of Ranger, but let me tell you, I think this is going to be a banger of a card if you're looking to pick up something.
All right. Do you want the old or the new first?
Old.
All right. The mystery reprint was
Yep.
Codex of Frailty, for those that didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like what they did with Command and Conquer and the Hunted. And
Called it also, by the way.
Yeah,
for everybody watching.
You nailed it.
Called
you
that shit.
definitely did it. And that's kind of an interesting. I mean, it's a good choice, right? It is interesting because technically in this set there is not an assassin. It's only the Ranger option, but it does fit with both. So it kind of hits two birds with one stone, which is nice. So
yeah, it is necessary in every Ranger deck so far, so it makes sense that it is reprinted. The only downside for this is that it's frankly, I think it has worse art than the original Codex of Frailty, and obviously I don't think there's a extended art version of this card or anything, because you have the Marvel that's out in Outsiders. So
yeah,
probably not.
The Marvel still looks more beautiful in my opinion. But
yeah, but the Codex of Frailty reprint's at least nice if you happen to pull it. So
next but not least is the new mech arm, which is an intriguing concept. This one is...
I told you mech was getting another L.
Hey, I am all for it. I'm happy. I'm glad that I was wrong, because Cogworks, which apparently is must be a really big company, because they're doing some pretty elaborate stuff. I still think this could be run in other heroes outside of Puffin, which is nice.
Oh, for
sure.
Because
mech, this whole cog piece, which is all kind of the central theme of the mech in high seas, can really kind of spill over into other sets. I think that'll be kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also nice. I think also if I recall correctly, the lore is that Teklo Industries and Cogworks are like, they used to be business partners, but then Teklo got crazy and like kind of fired Cogworks, and now Cogworks is out there being like doing cool stuff and making airships and stuff, and Teklo is being the Iron Man. But I do like that this came out. I think it's the arm slot's something that Mech has always been kind of working with, trying to figure out what they wanted to put in there for a while. And I think that being able to, at some point, I don't know what other heroes can do to really like power through the concept of just having one golden cog, like what kind of game changer that's going to be. But even having a Blade Break 2, if you're looking for a more defensive arm piece, is pretty good.
I agree. Well, for those that did not know, there were actually 4 heroes in this set. You've probably heard of Gravy Bones. We're all familiar with that one.
Mm-hmm.
We had Puffin Hightail, which is the mech. We had Marilyn, the Ranger, and we had a sneaky son of a gun.
This was the craziest thing.
None other than Scurvy, the Stowaway. And I want to focus on how the reveal of this went, because this was pretty great, I think.
Yeah, I think this was wonderful. I mean, like, the fact that they had to keep everything hidden, I think a lot of people kind of assumed, at least in the Colorado Discord, we had a lot of people who kind of assumed that there was going to be a secret 4th, like, pirate-only hero, effectively. And I think it is really interesting that this is kind of really a pirate-only hero in the limited sense, and really only thrives in the limited format, I would believe. But the fact that they introduced not 1, not 2, but 3 new classes in this entire set, with Thief being the new class, I think is very... It is just not something I was expecting. I was expecting Pirate Hero Young, that's it. But the fact they added that Thief on there, that's kind of what sold me on Scurv.
It makes perfect sense too. I mean, in that a companion, right? I think if I were to COMP companion, yeah, here we go. Still learning how to do the searches in February, but Sticky Fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I think DM Armada saw this before the actual hero, and it said Scurv companion. And the first thing in my mind when I saw that was, holy crap, did they make a generic companion that everybody can have? That was the very first thought. And I was like, no, there's no way it's generic. And
Mm-hmm.
then it said Scurv, and I'm like, what's Scurv? And then that's where, they kind of teased and hinted, and it just kind of built up. And yeah,
Yeah, seeing this here in the expansion, or not in the expansion, but in the at opening pack, and seeing Sticky Fingers, I was just like, wait a minute,
I
that
loved,
like what could this be?
I absolutely adored how apparently DM Armada later or somebody said, yeah, like Brian had one in his pocket folded up as like a backup in case they didn't see it. He was gonna like bring it out and show it to him. Is like, I'm like,
I mean,
that
they
is
had a whole
that is
infographic ready for it, right? So
I mean,
that
that's
made sense.
fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, very, very, very nice. I liked it a lot, and I think it was also like that whole reveal was really funny because you saw Sticky Fingers first, and you were like, "Well, what the hell is Scurv?" And then you saw the specialization, and you were like, who the heck is Scurv? And I'm sitting here like, usually with specializations, like that kind of gave it away to me a little bit, because I was sitting here just like, oh, what if Scurv is like a demi hero for Gravy Bones, right? And it's like the ultimate like thing. And then we saw the specialization here, and I was just like, oh, no, it's just some guy. he's just some dude here.
I loved it how generic this person was. It's like, this is the most generic human ever, and that is in its own accord epic. I'm happy, because it just means that it's the everyman's person, and that's awesome. That is totally good. Where to next? What do you want to do? You want to do by classes? We talked a little bit about the hierarchy, or do you want to like kind of dive into some?
Let's talk about the Fabled next.
Fabled, okay. Oh man, this is
talk about the contentious card in this format, or in this
saltiest of salty people are salting this card. Now, first, I do want to say that if you started reading the flavor text on any of these cards, there are several cards that actually reference the riches of
Tropeldani.
Tropeldani. So it's nice that there is a tie-in in the flavor text, and I applaud them for putting effort into that. I heard Brian mention at one point, he was like, the flavor text in this is a little bit lacking, or the support text in this set's a little bit lacking, or something to that effect. And and I'm still glad that there are some flavor text. And now I'm waiting for the lore articles at some point. I'm hoping those will come soon.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, Tropeldani, at least from what I read on the flavor text that's on the cards, is that effectively it's like Atlantis, right? There's like it's underwater city of Tropeldani. That's where all these treasure hunters are coming from in this Bermuda Triangle of sorts. Is like in this triangle, there's Tropeldani, which is the undercity, or the underwater city of whatever ancient civilization. And so I think that's where a lot of the lore for why these pirates are in these high seas is to search for that treasure. But I think the card itself, regardless of how beautiful this freaking Fable
the
looks,
art is great.
I think this is something that I expected to see. Now, it being a generic instead of a pirate is a little crazy to me, because I initially went, all right, cool. If it's a pirate resource and you pitch it and you make gold, and that's like thematic for pirates, that, it'll probably sit somewhere around like $60, maybe a little bit more, right? But now that we know it's generic,
it's generic. Everybody can run it.
When's the last time they made a generic gem?
I mean, almost all the way back in. I mean, if you just look at yeah. So hold on. If I go gem,
I mean, I have Ophidia, right? Like
it was I.
Yeah.
Because looking at the ones, you have Arknight Shard, which is not it's a Rune Blade one. You have Blood of the Drakai. That is I'm trying to.
That's Draconic.
Oh no! Come on, catch up, Mr. PC. Ah, wow! Look at that. That went super fast. There's Arknight Shard. We got Blood of the Drakai. Grandeur of Valahai, which those are kind of class specific, but I have Ophidia again. That was Arcane Rising. That is a second set, so that's generic. Heart of Findel, generic. Original WTR. Light of Soul. That is technically it is generic enough, but it's not like generic, but it is.
This is far less generic if it's just a talent.
I do think chaos in the long run, if they expand that out, will be nice too, because again, it's generic. But again, back to your genericness, there is technically only 3 that are generic because
This is the newest gem to be of generic class rarity, and that means that it's gonna it's probably gonna sit at nearly the exact same price as things like Heart of Findall and Eye of Ophidia will, especially if you can get it in cold foil, which you'd probably be able to get inside the treasure pack. So it's already going to be more difficult for you to get it. And then on top of it, who knows, right? It could be, I mean, if they're already putting it in a treasure pack, they might even make a Marvel for it. We're obviously
well,
not going to know until like all that comes out,
yeah.
but
I do have one. We're gonna have to have a conversation around the treasure packs because I have seen some video evidence now between 2 different box openings and some packs that I originally thought there were no Marvels in the core set, but it does look like there
so
are Marvels.
I also did too. The only Marvels that are in the main set are the allies. That's it.
Okay. That is what I was trying to clear up to get a confirmation on because
Yes.
looking at the treasure pack and listening to, I think, a gentleman named Clue, I was going to try to do some math as well, but I think he'd kind of said that the statistics behind that now are actually harder to get any specific card because the pool is not only the pirate cards, but some other expansion, things that are in there. And that also kind of stems from looking at there's a set tracker on Fabre, and there's a whole section that they added in there now, which Alex, I'll send that to you here. But there's a whole section that basically has a gold slot next to it that says it's in the treasure pack. And most of the pirate cards are in there. That's why they said there's so many pirate cards. So almost all of those are part of the treasure cards, which is fantastic. A limited amount of pirate cards. Limited amount of pirate ranger. A little bit of ranger cards, a little bit of necromancer cards, a little bit of pirate necromancer cards, a little bit of mech cards, polycranker, and then a decent amount of generics are in there. So those are just those pieces. And then, oh my gosh. So I want to talk about, since we kind of talked about the gems, these.
Talk about the sick moxes that we got in.
Okay. I just have to say, now there are 9 of these.
Yep.
Amethyst, diamond, onyx, opal, pearl, platinum. I can't even say that one. Pomaru,
Punamu.
I can't even say it. Punamu.
I think it's Punamu. Yeah.
Ruby and sapphire. Now, of these, there is a clear as day, no question in my mind of like relationship to or homage to Magic the Gathering Power 9, even though these are not like in Magic it's 5 Moxes, a Lotus, and 3 blue cards. In Flesh and Blood, the flavor, which I'm flipping through for those that are watching on the stream, I'm flipping through some of the more exotic, these 1 in 100, right? These are the super chase. I saw the first couple get hit. I've seen some open offers at $150 or $200. Now I see people that are offering $300 to $500 for these things.
You want to know why?
Why is that?
For the Marvels specifically, you're seeing these numbers, right?
Yes, yeah.
So at least from what I had heard, and obviously this is not going to be confirmed until like everything is fully out, or we hear it from like Brian Gottlieb's mouth or James White's mouth, but there are only 100 of each of these Marvel amulets in existence.
Oh my gosh.
So
well, that would explain why people are going
now there's only every single amulet has in its Marvel version that you can find in the treasure pack, there's only 100 of them to ever exist. So while that means that there's 900 Marvel amulets across the entire scope of the game, right? It is definitely a big collector piece now, especially when you consider that it probably looks really nice in a nine pocket binder. Probably looks good if you frame them and get them all set up there. I definitely think it's really cool. Something that also I've kind of like been looking more into, just because while these are reminiscent of what is effectively the Moxes, what they also are is they tell you what region these are from. And that's kind of interesting, right? So like Diamond Amulet is Solana, if I recall correctly. The Amethyst Amulet is more so Demonastery.
Yep, that
And
makes
then you
sense.
have, I
The
think
onyx,
the Onyx Amulet, obviously the
that's going to
pits,
be like the
right?
pits. Yep. And
Yep.
then the opal, is that going to be
Opal, I would
Mysteria?
say is Aria. I'd say
Aria?
that's
Okay.
Aria. Yep.
Um, Pearl?
Pearl Amulet is very interesting to me because like part of me is like, okay, this very well could be um it could
The
be
ninth
where we
region?
are, right? It could be the general area because it's got something to do with tapping. So it could be within the high seas. But I
Okay.
haven't really put my mind to that one yet.
Platinum looks like
Platinum,
mechanologist or metrics.
definitely metrics, yeah. And then
This,
Ponamu, probably Savage Lands, if I were to guess.
yeah, that
Um,
could. And this is
but it's just because
Volcor,
green.
the ruby.
That's obviously Volcar. Yep,
And then the last one here, that's probably going to be Mysteria, right?
that's Mysteria. Yeah.
But if these are the 9 regions, I mean, or again, 8 that we know of, and now we were told that there's a ninth, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of that's what things are leading into. I
Yeah.
think it'd be real interesting to see
Yep.
where this goes, because I also am going to say that I am very happy that even though these are all majestics, and they are, I'm going to use the word legendary as the keyword. It's a different variation of legendary because it is Legend of the Watery Grave,
Right.
but it is still in essence the word legendary. It's just
Mm-hmm.
legendary that when they get thrown away, they're upside down, so there's no recursion or weird things you can do with it at this time. No interaction,
Mm-hmm.
at least that I'm aware of. They made it where there's the non-foil version, and from what I'm understanding from the Fabry piece, it's only non-foil with no foil variation. So you'll only ever see non-foils until
The Marvel.
until you get the Marvel.
Yep.
There will be one to rule them all. Yes,
Yep.
there can be one to rule them all. And if you get all 9 of them together, you accidentally transform into Captain Planet.
I was about to say, is this a Captain Planet reference? Is that where we're going to?
I went there. That's what I did. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which ones are going to see the most play. I mean, obviously, I think something like Amethyst Amulet probably doesn't like fit the bill for a lot, just because it's an additional +2 damage. It's like, whatever. I know Sapphire gets you an extra intellect for a turn, which is just like game changing.
Maybe
The Ruby one gets you resources. So
maybe because these are items, Alchemist is coming. A dwarven alchemist. That's my guess.
I don't entirely know that Alchemists would care so much for jewelry as much as they would potions, right? Like I feel like that's probably more up their end.
I concur. It's just the fact that they're items is why I was saying that, because items can be, we're still going back to the James White quote of, get your Everfest items. Looking at my watch, we're a little past Everfest, but
we're a long way past Everfest, but definitely, I mean, you gotta pick them up. And funny enough, also speaking of, you just brought up the dwarf thing. I would almost believe that if we don't go to the Savage Lands next set, it's going to be Anvilheim.
Yeah, because there's a quote in one of the phrases that the dwarf dude.
NIMBY. If you bring
I'm
up
actually
NIMBY.
looking that up. Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Hold on, where is the guy?
I think Anvilheim is our next spot, because this is, I mean, what we've gotten several dwarf cards within the past like 2 sets.
Oh yeah, the
and this one more specifically
unmovable
being
promo
relevant, right? I mean, this is a callback to like the effective belittle, but without minnowism, instead being with nimblism. You've got obviously Anvilheim being in that flavor text there, and they also came out, of course, with that unmovable that has all the dwarf stuff on it. I think that it's a pretty good opportunity that we might even see our first dwarf hero next set.
I mean,
Enchanted Jewels with powers. Mm-hmm. That's right, John. They would, because if they get destroyed, they activate Gravy's ability. So that does make sense. I don't know if they're going to run all of them, but I think it might not be a terrible thing to do.
I'm also going to pick on another card, I know we're going out of order here, but this majestic, this generic majestic, just blew my mind. This arcane compliance. I was happy to see this because of the ability that it just, oh my gosh, increasing Arcane damage. Oh yeah, like that just feels like a big zinger in the right combo in the right scenarios.
Yeah, you definitely have to know. I think what this card is, just on its face, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's just going to stop everything from going tall. And like theoretically, that is correct. But you do need to know how the stack works and when to play it. Because theoretically, your opponent can go and start by playing a sigil. You know, for instance, Verdance has her big combo where she deals a lot of damage to your opponent. If you play the arcane compliance after they play like a sigil of solace, just to be like, just gonna get this taken care of, so that way they don't need to worry about it. All they need to do at that point is just resolve sigil of solace, and then the stack goes away, and then you get to move on to your next thing, and you miss your trigger to pump up anything because it's only specifically on the stack. So you have to really be careful about that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, if in the expansion slot thing, I'm noticing a trend, and tell me if this sounds relevant. If two can be a trend, it seems like we're gonna be now in the theme. Bright Lights had one legendary where it was a reprint. The
Mhm.
Hunted had one legendary that's a reprint. This set has one legendary that's a reprint. Now, technically, it's an upshift for both of the other two that were winter legendary. But I think that they're kind of getting a cadence with these now where it looks like they're going to maybe pick certain cards and upshift them to a legendary and put them in here, possibly. Again, every time I think I know what they're doing, they're changing their idea, which is fine. But it looks like, yeah, it looks like there might be some leveling out of how they've approached the expansion slot, because it's definitely neat to see that they're kind of giving a sub game within the same thing. Is that
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine effectively what is probably due to happen at every set moving forward, if they can help it, is to take some of these cards from sets that did not have a lot of them printed, and if they haven't seen a printing in a long while, putting it as a legendary
I can't
in the
even read the
expansion
card?
slot, you're not really doing a whole lot in regards to being like, uh, you know, you're not doing a whole lot to be able to be like, okay, it's going to be reprinted as like a box topper or all this other stuff. It's
Sure.
still available, right? You're still, especially if you're opening up a box, you still have at least like 3 expansion slot uh, cards that that you can get within a box, roughly on average. So your chances of getting it, I think you get it. I think your chances are a majestic over legendary. But even if you open one of them, this is another product for you to open that isn't outsiders for you to attempt to get
That
something
is
like that.
true. And the thing that also was crazy about this set is, again, on the heels of Hunted, this is right after it. So they gave a draconic weapon as an additional item in this set, and that was just kind of interesting to see that kind of support that close together. It's kind of interesting. I,
Yeah, I mean, Claw of Vincerikai, it's a 1 power dagger, right? And it's another one-handed dagger. It allows you to have spell void. It's funny because a lot of people initially were just like, "Oh, this is perfect for Fang." Fang is not going to want to run this, and strictly
yeah.
because if you pop it for spell void, you can't get it back. Syndra loves this. Syndra loves this card because you can spell void, and then you can activate the Syndra ability to bring it back during your next chain. But you want to know what the wildest part about this card is, Jacob?
Okay, you got
Dromai
me.
can run this card.
Well, it's draconic, so yeah. I mean, I was wondering if you were going to go there. That was my question.
Dromai has never had an actual weapon that can attack outside of Talishar ever. And so now seeing this, obviously she's not going to run it because Storm of Sandakai is just like the better weapon overall. But seeing that it's a funny, cheeky thing that you can see access in, this card is definitely for Syndra. Like, obviously, right on the nose, this is a Syndra card. If you are going against a hero that does high arcane damage, you want to just put that in Syndra. It's super simple. You play it the same way as you would any other one. It just doesn't have go again, and you just flick it a whole bunch at your opponent. So
Would Fang care about this?
no,
Or
it
I'm
doesn't have
sorry,
go again.
Phi. Would
No,
Phi?
Fi doesn't care about this either. I think that
Okay.
Fi does far more. Fi doesn't really care about attacking with his weapon, and he has Searing Ember Blade, which I think is a better weapon anyway, and is two-handed. So I think there's a world in maybe like Kodachi plus Claw, maybe, but I don't really think that it's I don't think it's going to go for anything insane. So it's going to be fun to see. Obviously, I'd like to get one in cold foil, but we'll see.
I think a lot of people will.
Yeah.
Well, kind of moving on to the next couple things here. I guess I'm just going to kind of go from top to bottom because that'll be easy for scrolling purposes. But mechanologist, right? So we got the Puffin and the Poly Krenka here. But, looking at what they kind of came out with, we knew about the Golden Sky Warden early on. So we kind of had seen that at one point. This Jolly Bludger, this is in combination with some other cards is just ridiculous.
This card's nuts.
When this attacks, you may tap a cog you control. If you do, it gains overpower. When it deals damage to a hero, steal that many items they control. So you're telling me that if Dromai were to play Kyloria and steal my mech, and I had this in my deck, I could steal my own mech back? Because, that's a thing? I love it. I absolutely effing love it. I am all for this. I was so happy to see that I could steal my damn mech back and the game wasn't just game over. I mean, it probably still is game over.
It's if you get your mech stolen, it's definitely over because I'm not going to allow something like that to hit. But it is definitely an interesting thing to see. There's a lot of this thievery thing happening, and I feel like a lot of this comes down to also we're seeing a lot more with all of these new the amulets have it being items, and several heroes caring about things like gold or even silver. There's an opportunity for you to actually get some value off of it, but the other downside is that you can't really if they don't have anything, then it's just cool, you did damage, right? But that's even still it's not
I know
bad.
you got to hit, but still, it's in a mech on mech thing. This would be a very devastating thing to find a way to make this unblockable in some capacity, or force them to somehow run out of, make them have only items so that this goes through, and then steal all their cogs and just be like, I get all the chips on the table, scoop. It's that'd be awesome.
Oh, it's huge if your opponent has just a huge board. I mean, it's even crazy to think about when you're if you're going against a Max, right? If Max gets 3 hyperdrivers out and you play this and you're able to just go cool, pump it, overpower, you can't block it. Okay, I take all of your hyperdrivers.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. So I like that. But yeah, and John, they can steal it back after it's been after it's played. So you're still able to,
So
as long as you're not doing anything crazy with it. But
fun fact. Oh, hi Ben. Ben jumped in too. So John's one of my buddies that I've tried to get him to possibly learn this game, and I told him that this set had pirates and necromancers and other things, and I'm hoping that I can convince him to, even if I provide him all the cards to play, because that's the kind of people that we are in the game. We like to just throw cards at people to play. I think it would be fantastic to play because this set is so thematic that I feel like there's going to be a bunch of people that are in other games or even board games. And I think Smash Palace, which to kind of circle and completely against this, but just to go into that, I think the Smash Palace is going to bring in a whole new group of people because it is more board game like. And I think that that's going to maybe get those people to dip their toes into this, similar to Alpha Clash, or Lorcana. There's boxed products that those games have. That you can purchase that are kind of like a buy it and it's on a shelf kind of a thing. So I'm curious to see where the things end up with those. But yeah. Well, the weapons for mech here, we got Cogworks, Blunderbuss, and the Spitfire, and then we got the legendary we talked about. There was a couple of random equipment that was kind of cute. This Rust Belt was one.
This is real cool. Also, commoner heads out there. This is really, really good piece. I think this is kind of insane if you're playing a hero that cares about cog. Definitely awesome.
I also giggled so hard seeing this unicycle card because
This was nice.
I have to find a way to learn how to unicycle to cosplay this. I'm gonna fall on my ass, but like
Mm-hmm.
this would be so cool to have.
Yeah,
The
that's a
other
fun little thing to do.
the reason why is in the Pathfinder or the D&D campaign that I'm in, my character lost its leg and I've had a peg leg for like the last half a year now. So I'm going to tell my DM now, I see if he'll let me do it.
Of course, your move speed will increase by at least 10.
Hell yeah, it will. I'm so excited to see that. Again, I love the mech or the kind of steampunk cogwork kind of a thing here, or this whole like aeronaut. I think I used the word aeronaut before, so like there was some pretty interesting terms with all that. But yeah, Cogworks Dovetail. It's another pretty big one. I love that it has uncocks. Wow, God, untaps.
Goodness.
Yeah. That's welcome to Flesh and Blood, folks. We garble our words. Jesus. All right. It has the untap symbol, so untap all the cogs you control.
Yeah.
This is going to be ruthless if I say these wrong so many times. Oh my. Thrice per turn, tap the cog, it gets +1, or it gains go again. Now, I do have a question. You can't actually gain go again more than once, can you? Can I say gain go again 3 times and get 3 action points, or does it only count once?
No, it only counts for once.
Okay,
so
that's kind of what I figured.
Effectively, you'd want to go ahead and you'd want to tap a cog, you give it +2, and then go again. Effectively. So tap, you can do it 3 times in a turn. So if you have 3 cogs, you can make it give +2 down to, so bring it up to 7. So a 1 cost 7, mind you, which is insane, and then give it go again. Huge value, and you untap all of them when it hits, so it's like nothing ever happened. It's very, I think that's like the banger card for Puffin out of this. It's going to be insane to beat that power
well,
card
and
there.
Because these are just mechanologist cards and not mech pirate, this opens it up for other characters to try and leverage cogs, which
yeah, but you have to leverage cogs. It's still going to be pretty hard. I don't know. I mean, I think Dash might not be terrible because you can play like the crank stuff from the top of the deck, or Dash IO specifically. But I think that obviously Puffin is going to be better at making cogs than any of the other heroes, especially since pirates get access to gold generation, and then there are some like pirate mechanologist specific cards. So yeah. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, the only other thing I can think of here, this is that Planetary Aeronaut. This was another card that was spoiled early on, so I won't really, for the sake of our art conversation, go too deep into it. The artwork's still awesome. Cog in the Machine, when I heard this, I just started singing a song like, just another brick in the wall. Like, I don't know why, that like is what's popped into my head with this. But it is nice because it's kind of like an anti-fatigue card. I love that not only do you get tokens, but it goes to the bottom of the deck, and it's a block 3. So, I mean, honestly, it checks a lot of cool boxes for me.
And like it does it to itself. I mean, you quite literally you play it, you make the 2 cogs, you just we just literally tap one of those cogs, and then it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like you have 1 less cog than you can use specifically on that turn, but you have something that you get to put back in your deck and utilize next turn. It's huge. It's completely different compared to the normal mechanologist, because normally it's like, okay, I'm going to lose cards off the top of my deck until I mill myself. But this is like almost fatigue-esque, like very, very almost slapdash build, where you're setting up a board state of like a bunch of cogs and a bunch of other stuff, and then being able to send all these very powerful attacks with the capability of tapping all of these cogs to like build the strength of your machines that you're sending it. I think it's just like really, really cool. Very like almost Tech Leviathan-esque, but without it being equipment based and more so like board state based. So
well, and I swore back in the day when I was reading the lore, Cogworks, because cogs and Cogworks, it makes sense now that they make cogs. So like this whole theme of Cogworks makes the cogs, kind of like Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory kind of a thing. That's kind of where I'm like looking at this now and I'm saying, man, I almost feel like this was like written into the game so long ago that I don't know how I didn't see this coming, that like cogs were part of this, because it's very flavorful. I think for sake of brevity, is there any cards you want to call out that are in the common and uncommon or rare section? I have one card I want to talk about called Copper Cog, because it has the word unlimited, which is a very unique aspect, meaning that you can have as many of these in the deck as possible. Now, granted, they don't block anything, but they are 0. They have crank. They're blue, so they pitch for 3. So they're like getting 3 resources. But I think because it breaks the rules, kind of like the old Relentless Rats and Magic or whatever, but it's not as good because it can't attack. But I really like this idea, but I don't know how many is a good number to run in a deck because really with the no block value, it
I don't
starts
know
to
that
get
you run any, honestly. I
really.
mean, I think it's really tough because one, it's a rare, right? So it
Mm.
already is like, I don't know why you'd end up getting like a whole bunch of this stuff. It it's a rare, so it's already going to be harder to find if you're opening a whole bunch of packs. Like you're not going to be getting like a bunch of copper cogs. It's not like it's a token. And then second off, it's a blue no block that has two you get 2 scene counters on it, right? And so not the end of the world, and especially if you have like 3 of them, right? You can set up 3 cogs and then you can begin your journey in that front. But there's not really anything to like get these out of your deck, and it's going to suck so hard for you if you draw 3 of these and then like
Yep.
an attack and your opponent sends like 25 damage. And you're just going to have to sit there and be like, well, at least I get to set up my board for next. Like you're never going to get that kind of tempo back, and so I feel like having these be available, if they were able to be like, if they were tokens and they were able to be
Do you know what
created.
3 of these go good with?
What's that? Fire breathing? Yeah, I mean theoretically, right? You're trying to do the most insane nonsense now that you don't have to worry about boost, but actually, that card that I was the one rare I did want to talk about in this mechanologist pool was that one that you had up earlier, which is lubricate.
Lubricate, yeah, that's pretty.
Lubricate's going to be pretty good. I think that's going to be a pretty good card in the set, or in the deck overall. I mean, it's blue, it costs 0, and it untaps up to 3 cogs. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to just like get more use out of these aeronaut ships, these large mech ships, or even really any of the effects of these guys here are pretty good, I gotta say. I think the other one is, I think something to at least think about when you're looking at most of the cards in the set.
Well, I wanted to talk about this set of 3 because it's the same text, different names. Mm-hmm. That's an oddity. That's not something they've ever done before that I'm aware of. There's not been 2 cards that have the same effect that have different names.
Well, it's not all the same effect. It's not all the same effect.
+4, +4, +4.
+4, untap a gun, and then perk up is untap your hero, and then Titan Screws is untap a cog.
Okay.
So perk up having the ability to untap your hero is probably pretty okay, but you're probably not going to be playing drawback, and you're probably not going to be playing Titan Screws, just because like there are other things that allow you to be better.
Yeah. So these are both guns, because I know a pistol's not a gun. Damn you.
That's correct. But overall, I mean, like there's a concept for it, I'm sure, if you're trying to make this more like it's almost Slapdash-esque, but like an actual hero that does that. But I think something to like put, at least like what I'm looking at when I'm building this hero, is a lot of these ships that are being sent in, like Cloud City Steamboat and Cogwork Zeppelin, they cost 2. You know what that means? You can play Pummel.
Yeah, you're opening yourself up to being able to do something fun.
You play some crazy Pummel Mechanologist and like just get away with it. I mean, you're able to, you have Cloud City Steamboat, which says when it hits, you can tap a cog, put a steam counter on a cog you control. Cogwork Zeppelin allows you to create golden cogs when it hits. There's a lot of opportunity for it, so I think it's going to be in a pretty good spot. I kind of think it's a very like Exodia-esque build, but I haven't done anything with it yet because I really just I'm more focused on who we're talking about next. So.
I thought the Exodia build was still the Nitro Mechanoid, but I'll take it. I think it'll be fun. But the real meat and potatoes. I've been waiting to say that one, by the way. I've been saving that for like so long. The meat and potatoes
like no meat in all potatoes.
Is Mr. Gravy Bones himself. So I I think that I'm understanding that this is a hero that does not have a weapon. Instead, his
Correct.
allies are his weapon, and that the offhand that he is granted access to is really what helps perpetuate some of his ability to perform some of the shenanigans. Now, I
Yes.
will admit I haven't gotten to look too terribly deeply into every single one of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want, I'll kind of do the same thing I think we did for Mech. We're going to go over at least probably maybe the Majestics here and then pick on some of these,
Yep.
and then we can highlight other cards after that if you'd like. So,
Yeah.
Blood in the Water. This
This
card
card's insane.
seems very very ridiculous.
Insane. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's effectively unmovable, right? But what it does is it allows you to be able to fill that graveyard with more stuff, right? If your hand consists of a no block, like you're an ally, you can instead defend with this, block 6, and then put an ally in the grave for next turn, where then you can put a blue in the grave, use Gravy Bones' ability, play him. There's this card is insane. Insane. Like, this is definitely going to be a
It's a
well
block
sought after
four too,
card.
so it's already it's already above a
It's a
break
block
point.
6. It's a
Well,
block 6.
it's
Like,
it's
it's a
all it's
defense reaction. It's a defense reaction. It's a 0 for 4 defense reaction. So, like, yeah,
okay.
theoretically in that front right, it is overrate. It is essentially sink below. This is the shelter from the storm of the set, right? But the fact that it gets to come in for a 6, I mean, it's huge. I mean, the amount of disruption that you get to prevent strictly by having a 0 for 6 defense reaction. Now, the downside with that overall, right? The over under of it is, if you have allies out, your opponent's probably not going to be attacking you a whole lot. They're probably going to be attacking your allies to clear the board. But of course, if they can't clear those allies and they're just like, well, we just got to present damage and race them, this is insane just to be like, cool, I can either use the ability to fill my graveyard, or I can just 0 for 4 block. And it's really, really good. So I definitely think this is a banger of a card. This is going to go in, it's at least going to go in my Gravy Bones deck, but I'm sure it's going to go in everybody else's Gravy Bones deck, just because the ability to fill your graveyard with stuff is so important.
And I agree with it most of that. I mean, it's I think it's just there's so many unique pieces. I mean, even Chart the High Seas here, which is the next Majestic on this list here.
Yeah,
You know,
also huge.
the blues are important because of Gravy Bones' ability.
Mm-hmm.
So having this blue, having a kind of a blue 0 as well. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may pitch a blue from among them. So if you're playing a lot of blues, which the companions or the allies are mostly yellows, so there's kind of some risk here with trying to hit and make sure you stack and get the right ones if you can. But you get a gold token for each one. That it's I think it's great because gold. There's just some synergy with gold too. So look,
I think
anyways,
the concept for this blows my mind. That we're just like, you're effectively drawing 2 cards here. You're effectively drawing 2 cards and getting a gold, because what you can do, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If you take a blue, you automatically pitch it, which means you gain 3 resources off this card no matter what. Then
yep,
you put, let's say you happen to have that yellow card as the other card, and it's an ally. You put that card into the graveyard, you get a gold token, and now that you've played Chart the High Seas, that card resolves, goes to the grave. Gravy Bones' ability is now online, so you can play that
yep,
card if you have the resources. You can play that ally from your graveyard to the battlefield. You
yeah.
have the compass's ability to allow you to have that get go again, so you can attack
Yep.
with it immediately. It's
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 synergistic.
insane.
Yeah. Now, something else that you could do with this too is, I guess if there's a couple other. I mean, there's lower cost. Uh, I guess for lack of a better word, there's 0 cost rare or non-majestic. But I mean, you could even technically try and line up probably some shenanigans to get like, I mean, Morgan Le Fay. I mean, any of these. But we'll get to those in a second. So give no quarter. This
Yeah.
is the flag. I saw some memes going around in a in a Magic community post somewhere that used this artwork. I admit I chuckled a couple times on that, but The next 2 ally cards with Watery Grave this turn cost 3 less to play. This, I think, is going to be a super big key to getting any of the bigger stuff out, especially
Yeah,
these like really big ones like
it's
Walters.
it's great because effectively what this does, right, is you have chart the high seas for if you want to get a card into pitch and then play an ally and then immediately attack with an ally. Give no quarter is effectively saying you get to play 2 allies, right? Because you're going to play it, you're going to be able to get that. You're gonna have allies in your grave, and then your next 2 allies cost 3 resources less, and you're going to have a whole bunch of blues in your hand anyway. So effectively, what you're going to be doing is just you get 6 free resources off of a blue. Then you get to activate Gravy Bones' ability, get 2 allies out because your first ally with Watery Grave is going to have go again. You can proceed to attack with that because it's a discount no matter what. But you can also then proceed to follow that up with another ally and set up 2 allies on the board with possibly quite a lot of health, which could cause for, you know, a large board problem for these heroes. So I think it blows my mind how valuable these cards are. Like Chart the High Seas being able to be like, cool, I just need to push damage, and Give No Quarter being like, cool, I have an off turn. Let's make that happen, right? It's super awesome.
I've been kind of cycling through here, but the 3 majestic ones they have is Chum, Moray Le Fay, and I call him Walter, but it's Whaler.
Whaler Humperdinck. My man.
So this is basically, in my opinion, this is like in Magic World. There's like an 11/11 indestructible. He's not indestructible, so it's not. But I think it was like Darksteel Colossus. This reminds me so much of that. It's just like I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna slap you. Like
this dude is a house. I mean, outside of obviously 6 resources, a lot of resources to play this card, but
once he's out there, if I don't deal with him, it's 11, 11, 11, 11. It's just like, what? Like,
it's a lot. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, like 6 resources to attack with it is quite a bit. But you're running a whole bunch of blues, so like the odds you're getting attacked for 11, probably pretty good. Also, not to mention, it's got 7 health, which means that you have to at least dedicate 2 cards, if not like 1 pump and a very large attack, to kill Whaler Humperdinck. And that's not to mention if you don't already have like Chum out, and Chum can just be like, cool, activate ability, like kill Chum first. It's super intricate, but like those are going to be the cards that you're going to want to target with Give No Quarter, because it makes Chum cost 1 and Whaler cost 3. So
I also like this
huge amount of value.
Because if you know of a term, I think it was the spikes in Magic the Gathering, where they had like the +1/+1 counters. You can move them around between the characters. This is very similar. They're putting the +1/+1 counter. So like, I don't really care if this character does anything, because it's never really going to attack. I mean, you could trick something and try and do like maybe a crazy way to pump this somehow. But in reality, I'm just going to want to just start throwing +1 counters on my allies and trying to make these other ones look more aggressive, and just go with it. I mean, that
and it definitely is. It's something that you still have to worry about on the board, because with Moray's ability, I mean, the downfall of this card it costs 0, it has 0 attack power, it only has 3 life. So because it only has 3 life, it dies to quite literally the most common cards in Flesh and Blood.
We should call out that these don't have. So there's a balance with Gravy Bones of not having too many allies, because they don't block. So they're like items in Mechanologist. If you have a hand of these, you essentially have a no block hand. So there's some give and take. You
have to find a nice balance. I'm obviously, like, it's too early for us to have known what the balance looks like for this, but like it might be like run 2 Whaler, 3 Chum, 2 Moray if you're looking for that. But even still, like, you do not want a whole hand of no blocks, because you can't block to put them into the grave. You know what I mean? You can't do any of that. They just have to sit in your hand. You have to go, okay, cool, I'll take 25. Let's see what I can do next turn.
You must go faster. You must go faster.
Yes.
It's the Jurassic Park It's the paddle faster Jurassic Park reference. I love it. Even though I know it's not Jurassic Park. It's just, you must go faster. Every time I've seen that card now, I giggle endless days.
You must.
The theme though, the overall theme of these cards, when I start clicking through and just looking at the artwork on these, as
Mm-hmm.
feel free to pick out any rares and commons you want to talk about, but I'm just gonna just kind of touch on the thematicness of just the card arts themselves, and the names like Hoist 'em Up, Avashji, Heave Ho, Yo Yo Yo. Like these are all things that are synonymous or related to in some capacity pirates.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was kind of sad about, and it took me till the very end. I think it's in the expansion slot. Is I was really hoping to just get a stinking skeleton, and we saw one. It's this Oisin
Dog,
Heart
they're
of
all
Gold.
skeletons.
They okay, but like just look. I'm just talking like
you much like myself expected there to have been a 1/1 Ashwing that you get to summon.
correct.
You can play Rake the Dead and you can create 3 1/1 skeletons.
But I wanted an unlimited version. Like, so see, LSS, I know you say you listen to videos, so please, for the love of God, I just want an unlimited, just 1/1 undead necromancer ally, skeleton, so that I can just keep playing them. Just every turn it's just 4, or 3, and then like maybe it does something ridiculous, so that I can come up with a thing that's just a spew of just just like Zergling Swarm. I just want to do that.
It's as much as I would love for that to happen. The action point economy in Gravy Bones does not allow for that kind of stuff to happen, and so it's just like you kind of just stuck with it at that point. And I mean, like, I'm at least happy to know that these allies can still at least be played from hand, but it does suck that they cost a lot. Like, they get a lot of like, there's a whole lot, and like you'd imagine to have a lot of like cheaper ones to play, but
well, this is like the closest to maybe Witch Doctor that we have so far. Because like in Diablo 2, I played like Witch Doctor a lot, or I played the Skellymancer version where you would like go around and just like undead. They're like an undead golem and undead. So this reminds me very much of like a Diablo style of character, especially when you start looking at like Swabby or Barnacle. Like I don't know, and hell, even kind of going a little bit further down here to like the legendary equipment earlier, the Dead Threads.
Right.
That gal. Ooh, sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry. That person is at some point definitely going to be some hero we're probably going to see, because they love to just like pre-tease things. So I really hope we see who this is.
I would say though, at least like knowing the amount of different allies you have access to, I definitely think that this is an insanely nice spread of heroes. And yeah, as you mentioned there, the 3 in the expansion slot, the 3 allies that we get are from the armory deck. But I think there are a couple cards, notably, at least like from my quote unquote testing. If you look at Avashji, this is going to be a card that's going to be played all the time in Gravy Bones.
Avashji, let's get that one. Up here.
That's a 0 cost block 3 blue that says your next pirate ally attack this turn gets go again, and when this hits a hero, create a gold token. That's just pure and utter value. So definitely good. Then I'm kind of seeing the overall, as I'm continuing to build for things like Commoner and Project Blue, I'm seeing the benefit of cards like Jittery Bones and Restless Bones, as it's just like effectively what you get to do is before you play any of these, you tap your compass to look at the top card of your deck. If it is a card with Watery Grave, you can then just pitch regularly or play these, get that card from the top back into the grave, that'll get go again, and then you get to activate other stuff there. So effectively you can play Jittery Bones, give it go again. If there's a Watery Grave card off the top of the deck, it goes to the grave. You can then break the combat chain. The blue version of the card, if you want to play the blue version of like Jittery Bones, goes to the grave. Gravy Bones becomes active, and then you're able to go about doing all that stuff. It also is a way for you to filter the cards in your hand. So if you have a bunch of cards in your hand that are like, oh yeah, like I just have these allies that I don't want to keep in here, and I can either pitch to play all of them or to
Limp
play one of
around.
them, or I can just simply attack with one of these cards, discard one of these allies from my hand, and then proceed to get go again, and then maybe even present some other capability there. But I think there's a lot of nuance. I think it's just important to note that when you're playing the allies from your hand, they don't have go again when you play them, so it's just like an action. But if you play them from your graveyard, they get go again, which means you can then attack with them the second you bring them back out from the grave. So
I just went through while you were doing that and spun all the like full art versions of these cards because John was talking about the full arts, and I didn't realize there was that many of them. But that is going to be an impressive binder page or two when you get all those together.
Oh my god! And the fact that you can run 3 of them in a deck, like, are you kidding
of
me?
each
This is
one.
such an this is an insane deck. I was just talking to a buddy of mine because quite literally, what we're dealing with here is you have not only cards that are within the main set that can be marveled, but you also have all of these cold foil gold cards within the treasure packs that can also be put into a deck. So these are like, this is going to be pirate heroes right now are probably going to be like the most expensive heroes if you want to bling out the entire deck. Sure. And it is like still,
especially if you try to max rarity and throw in some of these amethysts.
Oh my gosh.
Or I'm sorry, the amulets.
The amulets, yeah. It's gonna be crazy. I'm very, very, very. I think it's really a very fun collectible set. And I guess I can see I can see why these things are gonna fly off the shelves for sure. But yeah, that's it. I don't have anything more to say about Gravy Bones. I'm just
I do want to call out a couple of reprints that we got. And these are in the generic slots.
Yeah.
Nimbleism we got, Trade In. We got back. That was, Nimbleism was from WTR, Trade In, Uprising. We got Ravenous Ravel. That was Arcane Rising. Scar for Scar was, WTR / Uprising. I think it came out again. It was in several sets. Life for Life. That was an interesting card that they brought back. I did not expect to see that one, but that was kind of neat. It makes sense given that the artwork is there. So that's, again, thematicness back on point. Outside of that, the big bulk of the Majestic generics that are in this, are not. There's only 2 Majestic generics that are not part of the, Power 9-ish cards. The amulets, the amuletes. We got to come up with a better name. Like we gotta find a coinage name for the magnificent. The magnificent.
I mean, the amulets sound right.
The jewels of Fab.
I think they're just called Treasures of Wraith, if anything.
Hey, I like it. Let's send it. Treasures of Wraith. TOR. Get your set of 9 TORs.
Tors. Tor.
But Sea Legs. Apparently this was some sort of content creator exclusive I saw. There was like a promo cold foil list that got sent out with the stuff. That's what I heard.
Probably.
From what I saw. But this card's pretty neat. When it's discarded, you get a Gold Kiss Rum. It's also a pretty powerful 6 attack. I mean, it's not a breakpoint, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, and it's also really good in Rhinar. So, funny enough, they printed a generic card for a Brute, and that is insane to me. I think the card does really well in Rhinar. Being able to create a Gold Kiss Rum and still get the Intimidate ability and all this other it's just so you're like able to like super cheat action points. So, I think it's going to be.
Plus, he's definitely drinking early in the morning and able to stand up. So I applaud him.
Yes.
And then Midas's Touch, which I swear was like a car commercial.
The Midas Touch. It is a car commercial.
Okay, that's
Midas is a whole company. Also, but to be fair, before it was a company, the Midas Touch was just like old. I believe it was Greek lore. So, Greek or Roman, I can't remember which one, but
Destroy target ally. Its controller creates gold equals to its cost. So theoretically, you could also do this to yourself. There's probably a reason, and you could probably do something fun with this.
yep.
I can't wait to see some big tournament do something that's like, wow, he did what to himself to do what to be able to draw into boom, 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 and just go explode, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you just like think about you have Whaler Humperdinck, which costs 6 resources. If you played Midas Touch to destroy Whaler Humperdinck, you get 6 gold tokens, which
now
can be utilized for Gravy Bones' ability. Like, it really sets you up for a lot, especially if you're like, oh, I can't actually do anything this turn. Like, okay, maybe I'll just utilize Gravy's ability to try and do something else. Like,
but
having all that gold's great.
The hidden value is let your Humperdinck get down from 7 to like 3, 4, 2, and just if you know he's going to die, then blow him up. He's already served his other purpose.
This is an action, so you can't do it at instant speed.
No, well, no, I get that, but his health is permanent. It'll go down. Like it can be 7, 6, 5, 4, right? Oh, it won't.
No, it
really?
resets at the end of the turn.
I thought they were permanent. Really?
Nope. That's why allies are pieces of shit, because it's that stuff sticks around. So effectively, that's the thing, is if you can't kill Whaler Humperdinck that turn, don't even bother attacking him, because he's not gonna. Yeah.
Didn't know that. Wow, I suck.
Yep. So fun fact, it's something that I had to teach a lot of people when I was playing Dromai, because they'd come in and they'd try to kill Uvia, and they deal like damage to one of my dragons because they wanted to get the on-hit effect, but they would never kill it. And then I'd be like, hey, it goes back up to its life. And they're just like, what? It's just alive? And I'm like, yeah, it is still alive.
That's
so
horrible.
It's gonna be insane. I mean, luckily, from what I can tell, just strictly based off of the information that we have here, is that Gravy Bones is not going to be able to attack with more than 2 allies a turn at all, like ever. So it's not going to be anything that's going to be like as oppressive as Dromai, where she could attack for like 7 to 8 dragons in a turn. But it definitely is. It definitely is still going to be a lot of numbers getting sent through, and I think that obviously the wider the board gets, the player gets to just pivot whatever they want to like start with, right? If it's just like, oh cool, I lost this one ally, now I have like 3 others on the board that I can start working with, and some of them are more like support allies than they are attack allies. So it's, if you played an RPG before, you're probably really excited for Gravy Bones.
I do like how we get these generic suite of equipment in this set. It's kind of neat to see that we do get a variety of basically 2 brand new generic heads, 2 chests, 2 arms, and 2 leg options. That
old knocker is super good. Old knocker is almost certainly going to be probably something that takes precedent over things like Blossom of Spring and Commoner. Card's just crazy good. You have Quartermaster Boots, which is pretty good. Pay 2, destroy this. Next non-attack action card you play this turn gets go again. So you can play that in Chain and play, Read the Runes, and then use Chain's ability to play Read the Runes, and then do some other, like, there's a lot of cool stuff, like, outside of the general CC world. Like, a lot of these common equipment pieces are very, very fun and exciting to play, I think.
So this whole, like, kind of play with the if you're a thief thing. I mean, what's nice about that is that it can still be, used in other decks, but it gives a bonus when you're a thing that has that either talent. I'm assuming thief is a talent versus a class.
Thief is going to be a class. Thief is a class.
Oh, you think it will? Okay. So
yeah, thief is a class. It's just right now there are not cards that specifically say thief equipment or thief attack action. Instead, it kind of works a little bit like the stealth keyword, where there are cards that care about if you are or if this keyword exists within your realm. So that's kind of the whole concept with thief.
Arby's. They got the meats.
They got the thieves.
They got the thieves.
But there's a lot of really cool stuff
card in the deck. Like, I've been trying to understand where this could be useful outside of like draft.
This is only good for limited, and it's only just because it's a better crack bubble. That's it.
I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to think of.
Yep, so. That's it. It's the only thing that it's there for. There's nothing that like creates this. I thought it was going to be something that like would be created in your hand. Not the case there for that one. There is a card though that Jack Be Quick is a card that I wanted to look at in generic that I think is probably one of the wildest cards I've seen in a generic slot in a long time. So have you read Jack Be Quick yet?
Well, there's Jack Be Nimble and Jack Be Quick. But one thing before we jump into that, so I will also want to talk about when we are done with this, the cards that are existing in this set that are specific to draft only, like the things that refer to Treasure Island, because I don't see how they can be useful outside of that.
Oh, they won't be. But okay. Yeah. But Jack Be Quick is so funny because this allows you to when this hits a hero, you can untap an ally they control, then steal it until the end of the action phase.
Oh, yeah.
So you get to just take things like Blasmafet. You can take any of the angel allies, even though, well, theoretically, you're not going to be able to take. I mean, if they have more than one active angel ally, you can take it. But which is also really good because it's got ward, right? So you can block that stuff out. So Jack Be Quick's just a very interesting card because you can play a Nimbleism, give it +3 with the Nimbleism effect, another +1 because of Jack Be Quick, and then go again. So this is effectively a 2-card 7 with go again, and then on hit, steal your opponent's ally. So
now the
I think that there's due for a Nimbleism centric hero to event. Like this is like stuff you can do with merchants. Like just make a Nimbleism deck, but with merchants and just have them go crazy tall.
But with the Jack Be Nimble, it says if it hits, they steal an item they control. So if you were to steal like a E-pot and then blow it up, they don't get it back.
Correct.
So there's some usefulness in that too that might be, stealing somebody else's items. So
yeah, there's a lot of it's the fact there's so much just like theft happening. It's so cool. There's a lot happening in the generic slot effectively, but I know that there's just a lot happening. I'm very, very excited to see all these cool opportunities occurring. There's even like Tit for Tat, which is a blue 0 cost 2-block. It just says tap target hero, untap another target hero. So it's just like cool. Shut your opponent's hero down for the turn, untap your own after you've used your ability, and then get go again. That's another great like Gravy Bones ability. I'm just so excited. This is just going to be such an insane set.
There's a lot to digest. Do you want to go down the Ranger train here? Because
let's look at the Ranger stuff.
Ranger, but I like what they did. I mean, some of these cards, with Maryland's ability here, if you want to kind of go over this is attack, tap, destroy a gold you control, create a goldfin harpoon in your hand, go again. So this is kind of like a magic, like a crouching tiger, where it just kind of appears out of nowhere. When you draw a card during your action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up in your arsenal. So being armed with that knowledge, we can start to look at things like the crazy King Kraken's harpoon. This is a Go Fish, which is there's several cards that have this actually.
Yeah, Go Fish is like the key word that's effectively here for a lot of the new Ranger stuff, and it's specifically the Go Fish stuff is only for the Pirate Ranger cards, so only Marlin is going to be able to utilize these Pirate Ranger cards, obviously. But the fact that you are quite literally able to, it's almost like Contract, weirdly enough, but this just fully solidifies the fact that when you have something like the cannon, right? We know that Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon is the only cannon that came out in the set, which means that it's the only cannon that's going to utilize any of these Go Fish cards. So if you are running a Go Fish style build that is going to disrupt your opponent's hand, then you are going to be running the cannon, and that's where, I mean, you effectively just get to like Thoughtseize your opponent. You just get to go in there and go, that one. And you get to do that for 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 times you can Thoughtseize your opponent. It's kind of insane, especially since you're pumping them, right? Because like if you're utilizing the Hammerhead Harpoon Cannon and then you're loading in, you already have something to load in the King Kraken Harpoon, you're going to load it, give it like a +3. Let's just assume it's a +3 load thing. You load it. This now is coming in for 9. Then you play pitch 2 blues. You use 4 of those blues to tap Hammerhead. And to give your next arrow +4. If it's a harpoon, it'll get overpower. It then use the last 2 floating to swing this King Kraken Harpoon for 13 overpower. So it's effectively the same stuff that you're able to do.
It's with a Guardian.
With even with Azalea right now, with being able to make these big numbers, but instead of it being like, okay, here's a couple like Blood Rot Pox or something of the sort, it's instead just shut down their hand. And yeah, and not only that, that's the other thing, Ben.
Shot.
They're also poppers. Yes. So that's, which is huge. Like it's always been 1 cost 5 power arrows throughout like the entirety of Ranger. The only one they've ever had is Battering Bolt. And that one is very specific to like you'd only run it into a deck with poppers, or if you know your opponent's not going to have a whole lot of attack actions, they'll probably have more reactions in which you get a lot of value off of that. But now you get to run Battering Bolt, you get to run the harpoons, and not only that, you obviously get to make harpoons, so you can create them by drawing cards and then pumping. I think that Go Fish Marlin is going to be one of the more oppressive decks, even though Overpower is just the keyword and it's not Dominate. But also it helps fill in that niche because we know Azalea is so close to hitting Living Legend. And so once she goes, this is, I mean, it's effectively just a 1-for-1 almost in this situation, except you get to play more 3-block blues and you get to shoot a giant cannon. You get access to a completely different class too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get access to pirate cards too, which, you know, the
huge,
I don't know,
huge stuff.
So what do you think of Big Game Trophy Shot?
Pretty good. Again, this is another one of those, like, if you have stuff to load, right? Your next arrow this turn gets +4 if it has Harpoon in its name. It gets when this hits a hero, create a gold token. That costs you 2 resources. You also draw a card, then discard a card. When you draw a card, you get to load something into your arsenal. So you draw a card, discard a card, load a King Kraken Harpoon in there, right? Now it'll come in for 10. And then if you have even 3 other blues in your hand, you can pitch that to do the same thing. Now this will come in for 14 with Overpower, and you create a gold on hit, which activates Marlin's, which allows you to use Marlin's ability more specifically, and then you get the Go Fish abilities. Like crazy powerful.
I mean, the
so
artwork
fun
too here, going back to just some of the conversation about the Necromancer artwork. I mean, artwork here is still freaking awesome. I still thought we were going to get some sort of like large sea kraken creature or something, but apparently we didn't. Which, you know, maybe in a world in a distant future land, if PvE ever becomes a thing, maybe these are some of the things that we would go against, which would be kind of neat, right? Like the old ones or whatever, Olins.
Right.
These are things that would be neat to have a band of heroes, try and take out. So staring here at Gold the Tip, which is not Tip of Gold. It's not our Austin Powers reference or anything. The next arrow gets +3 if it's yellow. Keep face up, create a gold token. So there's some synergistic gold stuff. And then at that point, we're getting into the blue, the red, and the yellow, which this was a cute call out here because all 3 of these, dealt with the color of the pitch of the card, which I thought was kind of nice. Kind of circling down through some of these other cards, we got Patch the Hole. When I saw this card first, this was one of the cards I was like, man, I didn't know if I really liked the artwork as much on this, but it's kind of grown on me. It seemed like such an odd, like realistic human in the world of Wraith that just everybody seems so fantasy-ish that this was one of the first non-fantasy style, like, humans on a card that I guess I saw, if that makes sense. It was weird until it wasn't weird.
Yeah, I mean, I totally feel you. I feel like it definitely still fits the theme of the setting. I mean, if there's one card that I felt was like weird, and it was like the art that like threw me off the most, it was probably Scuba.
Yeah.
Just because it looked so, it almost looked like the claymation style stuff that's used for some of the Pokemon cards, but like it wasn't really.
Oh yeah, those are kind of fun.
So I don't know.
This
It was very
artwork
weird.
here goes really hard. This Return Fire.
That
I mean,
card is good.
That card is good
this.
too, but
This is going to be like a $15-$20 Majestic.
You think so?
I know so. This is insane. I mean, you get to block 4, you get to put an arrow into banish, and then you just get to send that thing for. You get to block, play Fatigue Marlin. You get to block, and then you get to just load something into Arsenal, pump it with your Hammerhead, send it with Overpower. Like, it's an insane amount of value for you to be able to like keep that information. I think that Return Fire is such an insanely powerful card. It's going to be.
I skipped this one, but this one, in my opinion, is just also freaking awesome.
This is a wild card. Did you see the rules listings for this?
No, I didn't yet, but I wanted to know, did it get clarified that you can or cannot target the same target twice?
You cannot target the same target twice.
Okay, got it.
But like, it is so funny because this thing has, if you look at the rules reprise for the high seas, this specific card has like maybe a near page dedicated to itself as far as rulings go, because a lot of people were curious on how it worked with Spectra, because effectively what happens is you can attack, right? And let's say your opponent has Arclight Sentinel, right? You have to swing at Arclight Sentinel, but if you pay the additional 3 resources, you do get to choose another target before Arclight Sentinel, and that still works, because normally the thought process was that once it attacks Arclight Sentinel, it'll fizzle the second attack, so there's not an issue there. But it can target one Spectra card and another target, or it can target 2 Spectra cards, which is insane considering the Illusionist matchup is normally the worst going into Ranger. You now have a card that allows you to clear auras for a measly 4 resources. So
yeah,
very cool. Like, it sucks because it's like 10 damage. You don't want to split 10 damage between 2 cards that don't take anything, but it is still pretty good.
I also really wanted to call this one out, the Monkey Powder. The art is freaking awesome, and it's such a cute card. And then this trifecta here, the hook, line, and sinker. I actually think if I was trying to figure out if you put all the cards together, if it created a panoramic.
It's a panorama.
I think it's a panorama.
Yep.
And I was so excited to see that.
Yep.
That is fantastic. And I'll call out one other funny card in this card here. In Magic the Gathering, there was a card called Netting Imp. And I still don't really understand what the actual, this nettling, Nettling, which, by the way, is only 1 letter off from my actual real last name, which is hilarious. Because in the Magic, I collected the crap out of that card, so I'm probably gonna have to get a bunch of these too. But it's just, it's such, I don't know, it's neat. At least it does something fun. When it's put up in your arsenal, you may untap an ally. So I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, really very specific into certain sets, but not anything crazy. I think that this Scouting Shot and the next one, Swift Shot, are the 2 commons that I want to shout out.
The art on this, though, that's what the other reason is, just that just goes so hard.
It's crazy, very like Disney-esque almost, like in the regards for it, but it is very, very good. I mean, Scouting Shot obviously is insane if you're playing Azalea at all. Cards like crazy good, but Swift Shot being effectively just say, hey, if this is in your hand, if you draw a card, you could load this, shoot it. You don't even need to worry about it being like, you have to, commit to like this spot or this spot. It's literally, this gets put face up in your arsenal, it gets go again this turn. So it is this turn, so you have to make sure that you're able to still send it, but it's a 0 for 4 with go again. If you're playing, you're able to vary that. I guess that's the other thing I want to talk about too with Marlin. I didn't expect to talk this much about Marlin, but you can very clearly see, based on the cards that we had kind of gone over, what cards are great for the Red Spine Manta build of Marlin, and what cards are really great for the Go Fish, Go Tall Marlin, right? Anything with Go Fish on it, you're going to want to run Hammerhead. But cards like Swift Shot and Scouting Shot and Dry Powder Shot, those are all cards that are going to be utilized in the Red Spine Manta version of Marlin because the Reds, they cost nothing to play, and you just get to swing them out and make that happen. So I think it's very cool that that's very, very face up in how you're able to play these heroes in different ways.
I'm also kind of glad that they did choose to reprint older cards instead of reinventing the wheel. You know, the headshot, the salvage shot, the Sikkim shot. You know, it kind of goes back to, you know, not trying to have 6 cards with the same effect with different names, unless there's a good reason. You know, the whole zap joke. But they did choose to reprint some pretty, you know, cards that I feel were basically from older sets, and they make sense. And I'm glad that they continue to do that. That is nice. You know, looking at some of the pirate equipment, right? You know, we did get the tricorn hat, which I know Armada was very happy about. I was actually pretty happy about this Buccaneer bounty because just that the overcoat. I've always wanted to have an excuse to have an overcoat, and now I think between this and Trench of Sunken Treasure, which, you know, kind of derailing the review here. Will Trench of Sunken Treasure link into this set, or was that was that one of those cards that people speculated way too much on and now is
I mean, they definitely speculated on it. I think that's for sure, but I still think that there's a world in which Trench makes sense to play in a hero like Marlin, especially if you're looking for an Arcane Barrier chess piece, right? Because there's no new chess piece for Ranger in this set to like make it so it's like, oh, this is so much better. But Trench of Sunken Treasure being able to put a face down card from your arsenal to the bottom of your deck and gain a resource, this is going to be kind of effective if you get to keep 2 cards with New Horizons. You get to have 1 card face up, 1 card face down. Let's say that face down card you don't really want to keep. You can instead pitch to the bottom, gain a resource, and then load another arrow in there, send 2 arrows and pass, right? Or send even 3 arrows if you have the opportunity to. But it is definitely going to be, it's all depending, right? It could be that Tunic ends up just being better, right? Just because you're able to, you don't have to worry about getting rid of your arsenal. But I don't know. I mean, it definitely doesn't seem like it's as powerful, but Arcane Barrier still pretty good. So we'll see.
Cosplay the unicycle with the trench coat and fall on my face. God. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I could make this go very bad. I still think my whole idea of cutting out a card border and being like a James White polo shirt where you're wearing the different shirt and you're walking around, and then each day you're wearing a different one. So it's the red, the pink, the orange, and the blue, are the 3 that they had. I think that'd be funny. Looking back at some of these other cards, I mean, there's a bunch of other just random pirate cards that, again, we can kind of talk about. There's that specialization, not so fast, we talked about briefly earlier. There's a lot of these cards that talk about Treasure Island. Again, like, just trying to understand that basically, does that mean that the entirety of Expedition, any of these expeditions are basically just about as useless as a token once they're gone? Or do you foresee any world where these could be in some capacity? I mean, I get it, it's a pirate. So for like, if you wanted to play a straight pirate only class card at the moment, then these would be valid options for you to be able to, it's a 0-1 and a 2 as an example. So Expedition to Key, which one do I have up? Keys, and then Straight, and then Reach. So like, these could be leveraged to create that stowaway, or I'm sorry, scurvy. Scurv stowaway deck, for like UPF, but you don't have Treasure Island there. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think that theoretically, Treasure Island is obviously a very limited only kind of concept. I don't foresee Treasure Island becoming a thing in any other format because you quite literally cannot play it, I don't believe. Um,
Gotcha.
but even if, I mean, if you do, like it's a high seas macro landmark. So I believe it is. I'd have to look at the rules, but I'm pretty sure it can only be used within high seas limited. Like that's the purpose
Well,
of
and
that.
macros are still
So
pretty new. I mean, we had the first one with the REF Sanctuary, so that was
right,
back in Rosetta, and then now Treasure
right.
Island. So
And you'll see. While it doesn't say it on Treasure Island, it does say on Sanctuary of Aria that it is for limited environments for Rosetta. And so I don't think that there's a world in which Treasure Island matters. Not to mention also that even if it did, even if Treasure Island did actually matter, the only cards that truly care about Treasure Island are like a bunch of rares and commons. So it's
sure,
not going to
sure.
be it's not like there's like a meta defined around Treasure Island and that like one hero is going to be able to utilize gold better than the other and that like it's going to be this whole thing where like the person with the most gold at the end of the game wins. Um but I mean, who knows, right? Obviously there's infinite amount of years that Flesh and Blood has, so we're certainly
Their
could at
road
some point see something like this happen.
their road is real long at this point.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think we've covered most everything. There's some pretty interesting cards that come up. Did I lose my? I went. I did a no, didn't I? Row raggy. What are we on Treasure Island? Ooh, did I lose my? So, pro tip: when in the future you are doing
That might be
your
pretty good, Ben. Pirates only UPF with Gravy, Marlin, Puffin, and Scurvy, and with the Treasure Island macro in play.
yeah, I thought about trying to ask some
It's
folks
a
to
fun
do
mini
something
game.
like that. Yeah, yeah. I lost my
I'd carry that around with me. I'd get a whole thing to carry around with me for something like that. I think that'd be really fun. And you could even do it where it's like just you can make it strictly like a rares and commons kind of deal with just like cards within high seas. And I think that's great. I think it's a great concept.
I want to go back into some of these C cards here because we can talk about some of the treasure pack cards. Um,
Yeah.
the pirates got these special. Um, okay, come on. I know you can do it. You're getting there, Mister PC. I feel it in my bones, in my gravy trains.
You
So these
gravy
are some of
bones.
the special cards that came out when
Uh huh.
in the treasure pack, and just looking at the thematicness again of these, like I I remember when Magic first went and kind of changed some of their borders, and I was kind of like, wow, this didn't look good. These these still look exactly like fab cards, but they look like pages out of like some old tome. And I'm all for this. Like these are epic. I mean, hell, even these extended ones here are just like, I mean, that just looks great. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I certainly am. I always love that they did those extended micro text box cards.
I
I
really
do think that if there is one thing, and I'm probably the only person actually like complaining about this, but those are gold foils, right? So
technically they're gold
the,
foil. I or, yes,
theoretically, that would be very confusing to somebody who is out to win a gold foil and knows like nothing to then be like,
yeah.
oh, I'm gonna go with a gold foil. Like, oh, so what? You're gonna get like a extended art Italian bark, and it's like, oh no, it's gonna be like a Crown of Providence. It's like what? And you'd have to like differentiate. I know this is the only set that's gonna have these like gold foils in them,
Never
but it
say
is
never.
something. Well, unless obviously, if we come back to another treasure set, but like in this specific scenario, like it is the only set that has these in them. So I totally understand where it comes from in regards to. I didn't
Gold
even know they
hammer
had all
goes
these
hard
up. They
too.
have every single
Oh,
one of the gold.
I I have been, yeah, I have been drooling
I'm
over some
watching you
of
flip
these.
through this, and I'm just like, there's no way they actually have them all up. Okay, so
That's why I
that's pretty
wanted to go
cool.
over this, man. Is I was just like, holy moly, this is beautiful. Because again, this is one of those subsets, like the gym packs, right? It's looking
Mm-hmm.
at these and saying, okay, I want to do a thing. Like at a certain point, I think that's all of them there. And then we get back into we talked about these are the more elaborate, amethysts. Or I'm sorry, the amulets. there's all these that have been put up as well. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's just some really sweet cards. The Gold Kiss Rum. Those are the things that people are going to try and get, and including these, I guess full art, necromancer cards. But at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, because the mathematics seem a little bit more complicated on what you can get, I don't have it pulled up, but again, I think Clue was doing a good video on this, but it was talking about the percentages of, like, you're most likely still going to open, and this is where the pirates cards come in. You're going to more than likely open a pirate card than a common cold foil, but even less likely one of the actual cards that you're really looking for. So those treasure packs, yeah, you
Correct.
get one in every box. But now I understand that they really could make, like, I mean, even this golden cog, like, right? I think I saw somebody trying to sell one of these for a pretty large buku amount of money. Granted, it is day one,
There
so
should
I
be
guess
there should be literally no reason outside of maybe the gold kiss rum. We have determined that the gold token is going to be the most common in the treasure pack, then
Oh,
the
okay.
golden cog, and then gold kiss rum. But at the end of the day, you are guaranteed one of three of these tokens in every single one of these treasure packs. So unless you need like a million of them and you don't want to buy like a million boxes, you may need to be buying them singles. But
Congrats.
it is something that strictly is going to be probably you're probably going to be able to find these for like $5 maybe.
This is
So
my clap for my wife. She was telling me she just got accepted into another convention, so this is my silent.
nice.
Uh,
Let's go.
so we're gonna be vending another con. So congratulations. If you don't mind grabbing me more Coke, that'd be excellent. Thank you. It's caffeine free Coke for those that are curious, because I decided to be a good person and not make my heart explode at 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Yeah,
That must be
yeah, I know.
nice. I drank an entire energy drink over the course of
Oh my
this
god, my heart
this thing.
doctor would kill me. He's like, I think I would literally, like, if he finds out I'm drinking energy drinks, I'd probably get smacked. Wow,
Yeah.
Ophidia also shot up in price. Holy moly!
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
card
Ben,
is
that's what I was talking about too. Did you see all the stuff that's coming out in Gem Pack and the new Gem Pack stuff?
there. I've watched only a very few amount of cards be open, but from what I saw, it sounds like there's some really interesting cards in the gym pack. Again, this goes back to that list. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. No, I'm just kidding. There is somewhere a list of cards in the gym pack that somebody had posted, but I haven't seen all the full list. Do you know where that is?
Yeah,
By
let
the
me
way,
see if I can pull it up here. I think it's in our
I think, Ben, even
uh
if you have it, you can DM me with it, because if you're actually live watching, I think I was trying to find it earlier, and I know I saw it on some Discord's thing here. It is all over the place. There's a photo of James White. Oh, here. Oh, well, I found that. Okay, I'm gonna copy this.
did you
And,
find it?
well, not the exact thing I needed, but I'm gonna send this to you before I lose it, because I can only copy one thing at a time. So, oops, come on. Oh, sad day, sad day.
There it
If you
is.
still find it, I found the other thing that you were probably wanting that is unofficial, official. Somehow someone got
So
it.
this is just the list that is this is
Available.
just the list of the cards that are in the set, but effectively, and this is like the wildest thing to me because I'm curious uh what
Oh yeah, so
the
Riptide,
allies are
because
going to
that's
look in
the
here.
Marvel. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, Riptide is the Marvel. So that's pretty cool that we get to see Riptide as a Marvel. You have the Claw of
Claw.
Vincerikai, so that card is only coming in cold foil, probably in the actual gem pack and not in the main set. You then, of course, have all the weapons from the set, so Red Spine Manta, Hammerhead, Compass, Spitfire, and Cogworks. But cool enough, you get to see that Boom Grenade, I think, is going to
I
get a
know.
cold foil in the
Boom
set. That's
Grenade
kind
did
of
get a
cool.
cold foil. I
Uh
saw
huh.
somebody open one. Yeah.
Boom Grenade got a cold foil. Nimbalism got new art and an extended art, which I think looks so sick. Literally, like one of the coolest things. And then finally, the last card in the set is the
Hunter's Clave.
the right side facing or left side facing Hunter's Clave in, I believe, Cold Foil. So now you have a new way to get Hunter's Clave. It's just go to your armory, and it's in the opposite side, which is what was missing from the main set. So
Well, I have 2 sealed gym packs because I don't have that many more, and I guess is the next armory going to be where I get a gym pack 2? Is that out as of if on Wednesday the 28th? Will that be or the gym pack 1?
No, it probably would still be Gem Pack 1. You're probably not going to get the Gem Pack 2 stuff until after Nats. So the weekend after Nats is when the official release is. But I'm sure stores have Gem Pack 2 already. So
well, I got 2, and I'm going to get at least one more. So do you want to open one as the fun kind of semi wrap of this?
Yeah.
Right or left? Twix.
Left.
Left Twix. My left.
Yeah,
This
your
one?
left. Yeah.
All right. We'll see. We'll see what's in it for ASMR people. Oh yeah,
It's me. I'm ASMR people.
oh yeah. Okay. So I can flip this around. We have a token.
Oh, nice.
The very first card, which I've seen and you haven't.
Ooh, smoke out.
We got smoke out. And
well, obviously you didn't get anything good after it because you didn't freak out. So.
Yeah, well, we got what is this called?
Oh, Rake Over the Coals. It's pretty good.
I don't think I actually have that. I'm still working to complete my full list of, and I'm the weird one. I've asked all the guys every time to give me their empty wrappers. I have a bunch of
you do like
pack.
to collect the wrappers. That is true.
Like the wrappers. I want to get a bunch of the Gym Pack 2 ones. I mean, that's on my to-do list as well.
Also, notably, for those of you who are looking to create this as a master set, the Marvel Azuri is, well, there's a damaged one for $75. You can get it for $80. $80 for Marvel Azuri. So, just saying, this is not going to be a card that's going to be reprinted in a main set, and there's no more Gem Pack 1s that are due to be given out, so...
I'm still happy. This is what I was looking for. I'm still happy to have this. I think
do you have another one?
I only have one. If I get another one, I will definitely... and I think even Ben's looking for another one of these. I was trying to see if I'd already had of these
They don't
cards.
even have them listed on... I wish they had them listed on TCG Player. I'd just buy them there, but like I cannot find one. I need to... you know what? I'll probably ask to see if...
You know what's nice? The 2 cards that I hid in here, I didn't even have. So I guess there's that. So
well, that's good.
There's a significant number of cards in these that even after getting, again, as a player, we talked about this, where going to one event and only getting a few every week or getting one every week, really, there becomes kind of a timer on some of these. So I'm gonna probably go to TCG Player and buy. I think it'd be nice to have, as silly as it sounds, a play set of each card. I don't necessarily need the foils, but I mean, even the non-foils would be nice to have, which I know that the collectible pieces people are going to still collect, but
I mean, you look at a lot of these, I don't know. I think I'm really I'm hyping up Gem Pack a lot, but that's just because I think that Gem Pack is such a fantastic thing. There are so many of these non-foils that are just dirt cheap on the market. And
correct.
I think if people started just buying 10 of them at a time, or 9 of them, right? You can have 3 play sets of the cards. You could pimp out a whole lot of commoner decks with these things, a whole lot of Project Blue decks with them. They just look really good. I think they're very, very nice. And so of course you can get them in foil too, which is really awesome. But I think just a lot of people offload them because they get them and then they go, okay, I already have this one, or I don't need them for my deck, and people are looking to bling stuff out. So it's just cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to see.
I'm excited. I think they are on a very good trajectory, in my opinion. I will say that at this moment, I do have still some reservations on how my local area is going to look, to see how we're going to get hopefully boxes and armory decks, and how the products are going to look.
Yeah.
I have reserved a case from one of my LGSs locally. I believe I've been confirmed that I am getting that, so that's great. There's another LGS I'm going to talk to and see if maybe they might have some stuff. But yeah, I'm just kind of holding my breath a little bit on this. I'm not trying to naysay it, but I am I am hearing a lot of conversations about, it's going to be very hard to get up front and maybe easier to get in the long run. But at a certain point, right, there's kind of this after I think even some people I've chatted with, after about a month or two of the set being out, most people aren't really opening it. They're already looking at the next set or the next
Right.
thing. So
Mm-hmm.
even though there may be some product out there, people other than the people that are trying to get singles in the market are probably not going to be the ones focusing on it. But because this is like a fivefecta here, you got pirates, you got necromancer, you got ranger, you got mechanologist. You now have, I guess,
Thief.
thief. Technically, I mean, you got all that in just one box.
Yep.
Now,
I
I
think.
did see from people opening on the boxes. I thought that the box art was, I mean, it's unique. It seems like there's multiple ones, but I thought all the
Mhm.
packs on the inside were going to be just the single pack art. Versus, it does look like they're mixed. So that's really actually pretty cool because it just
Yep.
means I need to track down the empty box wrapper. I don't need to actually keep
More
like,
trash for you to take home. That's
oh,
entirely it. So.
yeah, baby, give me that cardboard. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sitting on a stack of hunted boxes over here on the right because
Hmm.
that's something. So
Yeah, I think it's as far as like the allocation is concerned. I think it really is one of those things where right now there's going to be a mad dash for
for gold
any
packs and
product that
everything.
can possibly happen, strictly because national season. It's
Yep.
literally Nats. The day this set releases, it's U.S. nationals, and then the rest of the world also gets to do their national championships as well. So definitely it's definitely due to be a mad dash for the cards because some people want to upgrade their decks, right? There are mechanologists who may want to play with some of this new stuff that don't want to play Puffin per se, but there are people who probably want to play with something like Necromancer or play some of these other heroes, and it's just going to be difficult for them to get those cards to play strictly because there's not going to be enough product to go around. But if you're the good news is that there's not really a whole lot of like FOMO that is due to happen strictly because now that we know about the change to the living legend system, we
Mm-hmm.
know that it's not going
Your
to be a
hero's gonna,
situation where these heroes aren't
yeah.
going to be like gone by the time you're able to actually get hunted by the time you're able to get high seas at a regular rate.
Sure,
These heroes are
sure.
still going to be available to be played. They're still going to be well within their points if they get any at all, and I think that's going to be something that is um really effective go moving forward for these heroes because then you're not like, oh well, if I wanted to play Gravy Bones I have to get high seas but I can't find high seas. You can wait a month or 2 months and then and you should at least have an armory deck to play around
Mm-hmm.
with, and then you can move forward by getting boxes if need be. But single prices will also drop as hype dies down because people don't need the cards so much because they're like insanely powerful, or really it's because there's not enough of them that's going to go in the market, and also it's close to another competitive season, so people who are competing for these big prizes are going to need these cards in order for them to upgrade their decks, which means that the supply is going to be very low. It's just going to be hard to find them initially, but it's not the end of the world. Give it a couple months, you'll be in a better spot for it too. So,
Oh yeah, and I think that's kind of something I've just kind of had to readjust my expectation on is that just knowing that because of the hype behind this, I mean, I'm not even going to necessarily be super sad. I mean, I did not get the cases from Star City. I probably should have, but again, it was
mm,
mostly because I just really want the cog piece. That was the only reason I would have even bought from them.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'll get from my locals stores and support them. So.
Mm-hmm.
What are the thing you want to talk about? I mean, I think that's everything I had for this, man. It's not that I don't want to drag it on, but I feel like it's a solid good bit of information.
I think we touched on a lot of it. I mean, effectively we went through some of the cards that were really like big into the new set. We talked about all the cool hype things. We talked about Gem Pack 2. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. I would say that we covered a lot, and right now it's just about if everybody's out there brewing decks, and I'm sure the stuff is like up on Talishar in a matter of like a couple of days. So people will be playing it on Talishar and trying stuff out there. I'm very excited to see where everything lands for some of these more budget formats. That way, 'cause that's something where like if you're playing a budget format, that's where the value sits in because everybody else is going to be too busy trying to get the Majestics and the Legendaries. Whereas people who like to play the budget formats, they'll just get to pick up all the bulk from their locals and play that, and they'll be able to play these new heroes at a decent time.
I can't get over this card art. I just really like this card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything is great. I think the set's it's a banger for art. It's thematic. It's got like so much storytelling in just like a little bit amount of cards.
And the bauble as a bauble.
And the
best.
The bauble is bigger. It's still cracked the same way. And if you heard what Brian Gottlieb said, they're unsure when. He doesn't know. He's not in charge of knowing when the bauble is due to break open. So,
yeah, well, I have questions. I know on the Fab lore side, the heroes finally show Gravy Bones, Puffin, and Marlin sitting there on high seas. Now, of course, they don't show the Stowaway, which, of course, they don't yet. And under the stories, they're still, as of this point, not there. I'm assuming they'll probably come out around the release date, if not a little shortly after. So, the latest story there is still Boomtown Boom. And that's my update from my side. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. Hopefully this live experience wasn't too crazy. I'm gonna see if maybe I can go back and edit a little bit of the front of this out and not have that up there, because I know that there was a fun little beginning part that was kind of ridiculous when I was trying to get this figured out. But other than that, so yeah, thanks. So
yeah. Good.
You can find me here on Geeks First, and then Alex, where can they find you?
I'm over at Ashenwings TCG. I do a whole bunch of budget content such as Project Blue and Commoner. I'm going to go through a series hopefully sometime soon here in which I just try to train myself for the Commoner events at Nationals. So if any of y'all folks are heading over to Nationals, I look forward to seeing you guys there, and we can jam some games.
Rock on. Apparently I can set goals. I didn't know that I could set goals in super chats and stuff. There's a whole bunch of features I did not know I even had.
Yeah, when you hit 500 over 500 subs, when you hit 500 subs, it changes.
And for those that are curious, because this is another announcement, I'm going to try to put this out all over the place. But Gen Con, I did manage to get my event approved, which is a unofficial Flesh and Blood meetup. So I will be hosting that on Friday at 7 p.m. At Gen Con. It is going to be in like the main, I think it's Lucas Oil section, where there's like a little horseshoe table, from what I've been told, where it is. So I will get some details around that, hopefully, and try to find something fun to do. I put something in my eyeball, so I'm going to go take care of that as I wrap this out. I don't know what I have done, but my eyes are watering. Oh my gosh, it's so painful. Oh no.
Well, let's see if he figures out how to hit the end stream button. We'll go from there.
Oh my gosh, my eyes. Bye. Ow.
Bye, everybody.
I think I must have had hot sauce on my finger.
Quick, go.
No.
You got to turn off the stream.
Don't cross
He's got hot sauce in his eye.